The conference room on Harmony 7 station was enormous. Captain stood near the back wall, watching as representatives from 47 different alien species filled the seats. His dress uniform felt stiff and uncomfortable. He had been in space for 2 years now, but he still wasn't used to these formal council meetings. Beside him, Ambassador Lee adjusted her translator device. She was the first human to ever address the Galactic Council, and the weight of that responsibility showed in her careful movements. 3 months ago, Earth had been welcomed into the Council as the member species. Everything humanity did now was being watched and judged. "Are you ready for this?" whispered to him. Nodded, "As ready as I'll ever be." The council overseer, a tall creature named, stepped up to the speaking platform. His species, looked somewhat like Earth's insects, with 4 arms and compound eyes that glittered under the lights. But they wore clothes and spoke through translators just like everyone else. "We gather today to discuss military integration protocols," announced. His voice came through the translator as calm and formal. "The humans have proven themselves capable in their own system. Now we must ensure they understand how civilized species conduct warfare." Felt his jaw tighten slightly. There was something in the way he said civilized that bothered him. The presentation began. Holographic displays showed battle footage from various council species. Watched carefully. In every single video, the alien ships maintained constant communication. Their radio channels were full of chatter, status updates, tactical discussions, officers encouraging their crews, soldiers reporting every movement. "Communication is the foundation of organized combat," explained. "Every species in the Council follows this principle. During battle, silence indicates system failure or crew death. Our protocols require constant verbal confirmation that all ships and personnel remain operational." Leaned closer too. "They never stop talking," she murmured. "Never," confirmed quietly. The presentation continued for another hour. Every species had similar combat doctrines: talk constantly, coordinate verbally, keep the channels open. Silence was treated as an emergency situation that required immediate rescue operations. Finally turned his attention to the human delegation. "We have reviewed your combat simulations, Captain. We have concerns." A new hologram appeared. It showed footage from a training exercise the human ship Silent Dawn had conducted 2 weeks ago. Recognized it immediately. It had been a mock battle against drone targets. The footage played. At first, the human crew communicated normally. Then, as the situation in the simulation became more intense, something changed. The radio chatter decreased. Then it stopped completely. For nearly 4 minutes, the Silent Dawn operated in total silence while executing a complex attack pattern. The room filled with uncomfortable sounds, clicking, buzzing, and whistling from various species. Their translators turned it all into words of confusion and worry. "This is deeply disturbing," said a council member from the species. "Your crew appears to have suffered a catastrophic failure." "No failure occurred," said firmly. "That was intentional." The room went silent. Every alien eye, sensor, and visual organ focused on him. His compound eyes seemed to sparkle with confusion. "Intentional. You ordered your crew to stop communicating during a combat situation." "I didn't need to order it," explained. "It's how we fight. When the situation becomes critical, unnecessary communication stops. We focus completely on the task." "But how do you maintain coordination?" another council member asked. "We train extensively," replied. "Every crew member knows their role. We plan before the battle. During the battle, we execute. Talking distracts from that execution." The room erupted in discussion. Aliens spoke over each other, their translators creating a chaotic mix of concerned voices. Caught phrases like dangerous, primitive, and uncivilized warfare. Stood up, her diplomatic training taking over. Honored council members, please. Humanity has defended itself successfully for thousands of years using these methods. We've only recently joined you in space, but we've been fighting each other on our planet for all of recorded history. We've learned what works. What works for primitives fighting with chemical explosives, said sharply, may not work in modern space combat. We cannot have ships going dark during battle. How would we know if you need assistance? How would we coordinate fleet movements? Took a breath, choosing his words carefully. With respect, Overseer, we don't go dark. We go quiet. There's a difference. Our systems remain active. We can hear all communications from Allied ships. We simply don't add to the noise unless we have something critical to report. It's unnatural, muttered a representative from the species. Silence means death. For your species, perhaps, said gently. For humans, silence means focus. The debate continued for another 2 hours. Finally, raised one of his 4 hands for quiet. We cannot approve of human combat methods that deviate so drastically from Council standards. However, we recognize that Earth is new to our alliance. Therefore, we propose a compromise. And exchanged glances. Human ships will be assigned to joint patrol duties with experienced Council forces, continued. You will observe and learn proper combat communication protocols. After 6 months, we will review your progress. It wasn't a request. Could see that clearly. The Council had already made their decision. Humanity needed to prove itself, and they would do it the Council's way. We accept, said after a moment. Later, as they walked back to the silent dawn, Commander Park met them at the docking bay. She was second in command, a skilled officer who had served in Earth's Navy before joining the space program. How did it go? Asked. We're being assigned to joint patrols, told her. The Council wants to teach us how to fight properly. Raised an eyebrow, properly. They want us to talk more during combat, explained. Apparently, our silence makes them nervous. Laughed, but there was no humor in it. They want us to chatter like birds while we're fighting. That's a good way to get killed. That's what I tried to tell them, said. They don't understand. For them, silence equals death. They can't imagine a species that fights better when quiet. They reached the silent dawn's airlock. The ship was small by Council standards, but it was fast and well-armed. It had been built on Earth specifically for diplomatic escort missions. So what do we do? Asked. Looked at his ship, then back at his 2 companions. We do what we're ordered. We go on joint patrols. We follow their protocols as much as we can. He paused. But when things get serious, we fight the way humans have always fought. And if they don't like it? Asked. Smiled slightly. Then they'll learn why Earth survived long enough to reach the stars. Shook her head, but she was smiling too. Just try not to start an interstellar incident, Captain. No promises, Ambassador. They boarded the ship together, unaware that in just a few weeks, the entire Galactic Council would learn exactly what human silence meant. And why, thousands of years ago, Earth's warriors had learned that sometimes the most dangerous sound in the universe was no sound at all. The patrol route through the asteroid belt was supposed to be routine. Captain sat in his command chair aboard the Silent Dawn, listening to the constant stream of communication from their companions. Captain commanded 3 patrol ships, and his crews had not stopped talking since the joint patrol began 4 hours ago. Position confirmed. Shifting to Vector 93 Alpha, said one officer. Acknowledged, maintaining scan pattern 7, another responded. All systems optimal, no threats detected, a third added. Excellent, continue standard procedure, replied. Glanced at Commander Park, who sat at the tactical station. She rolled her eyes slightly. The humans had learned quickly that considered silence to be uncomfortable. They filled every moment with status updates, even when nothing was happening. How do they concentrate with all that noise? Muttered, quiet enough that only could hear. Different species, different methods, replied. but privately he agreed. The constant chatter was exhausting. Lieutenant Jin monitored the weapon systems. He was young but skilled, and he had been with since the Silent Dawn launched. Unlike the worked in comfortable silence, only speaking when necessary. The communication channel crackled with his voice. Human vessel Silent Dawn, please confirm your sensor readings for Sector 12. Confirmed, Captain, responded. All clear in Sector 12. Excellent, thank you for the update. Please continue monitoring and provide regular reports every 5 minutes. Sighed quietly. Every 5 minutes. For 4 hours they had been providing updates every 5 minutes, even though nothing had changed. Then everything changed at once. Alert, multiple contacts emerging from Asteroid Cluster 7. The sensor operator's voice was sharp. Count is 15 ships. Configuration matches pirate vessels. Sat forward immediately. Pirates were known throughout this sector. Brutal, aggressive, and heavily armed. They preyed on merchant convoys and small colonies. Merchant ships detected in Sector 9, another officer called out. They're under attack. The communication channels erupted into chaos, began issuing orders. His 3 ships moved to intercept. The crews talked rapidly, coordinating their approach. Moving to assist, announced. The Silent Dawn changed course smoothly. Acknowledged, human vessel, responded. Please maintain formation position 3 Beta and provide supporting fire. Communication Protocol Alpha 7 is now in effect. New Protocol Alpha 7. It meant even more communication than normal. Every action needed verbal confirmation. Every status change required immediate report. Understood, said. The ships closed on the pirate force. On the could see the merchant vessels. 2 were already damaged, trailing atmosphere and debris. The pirates swarmed around them like wolves. Weapons range in 30 seconds, reported. All ships prepare to engage, commanded. Remember your targeting priorities. Communicate all actions. Unity through coordination. The battle began. The ships opened fire first. Their weapons were accurate and powerful, but the pirates had numbers and aggression on their side. They split into groups, trying to overwhelm the defenders. The Silent Dawn followed council protocols, called out each order clearly. Target the lead pirate ship. Fire when ready. Targeting firing, confirmed. Their weapons struck true. The pirate ship's shields flared and failed, but it didn't retreat. Instead, it charged directly at them. Aggressive tactics detected, reported. They're not following standard engagement patterns. Around them, the ships maintained their constant communication. Shield status at 87%, adjusting power distribution. Target acquired on hostile vessel 3, firing main batteries. Damage confirmed, requesting support on Sector 4. The voices overlapped, and as the battle intensified, more pirate ships appeared from the asteroid field. The situation was deteriorating rapidly. Warning, energy spike detected from hostile vessels, a sensor operator shouted. They're charging weapons we haven't seen before. The pirates unleashed their surprise. Electromagnetic pulse weapons, banned by council treaties but still used by criminals. The blast washed over the ships. Their systems flickered and failed. Their communication became frantic. Shields down, systems failing. We're hit, backup power only. Emergency protocols. I repeat, emergency. One ship went completely dark, tumbling through space. The other 2 were crippled, their weapons offline. The pirates moved in for the kill. His voice was desperate. Human vessel, we require immediate assistance. Our systems are compromised. Assess the situation in seconds. 15 pirate ships now focusing on the disabled vessels. The Silent Dawn was outnumbered but still fully operational. The merchants were helpless. There were seconds from destruction. He made his decision. Combat stations, prepare all weapons. full autonomous operation. His crew understood immediately. They had trained for this. Years of drills and simulations on Earth long before they reached the stars. They knew what came next. Switch to the open channel one last time. Get your crews to escape pods. We'll handle this. But there are too many, you cannot. Close the channel. Then he closed every other non-essential communication line. The bridge of the Silent Dawn fell into absolute silence. The still monitoring human frequencies immediately panicked. The human ship has gone dark. They've lost communications. Human vessel, please respond. But there was no response. The Silent Dawn began to move. His hands flew over her controls without a word, targeted multiple ships simultaneously. Their helmsman, Ensign Ara, executed a maneuver that would have been impossible without perfect coordination. The Silent Dawn dove into the asteroid field at full speed. Pirates moved to intercept. The human ship twisted, rolled, and accelerated. Not a single word was spoken on the bridge. Every crew member knew their role. Every action had been practiced 1,000 times. Fired, a pirate ship exploded. The Silent Dawn was already moving to the next target. Another shot, another kill. The ship danced through space with impossible precision. The pirates began broadcasting confusion. What is that ship doing? It's not following any standard patterns. Target it, bring it down. But targeting the Silent Dawn was like trying to catch smoke. Ara flew the ship through gaps in the asteroid field that seemed too small for passage, diverted power to shields just before impacts, then immediately back to weapons. Shots never missed. 3 minutes of perfect silence, 3 minutes of calculated violence. The pirates began to retreat. Of their 15 ships, 8 were destroyed or disabled. The others fled back into the asteroid field. The moment the last hostile vessel disappeared from sensors, opened the communication channel. His voice was calm and steady. Threat neutralized. Status report. The crews were stunned into silence. Finally found his voice. How did you? We're transmitting medical assistance coordinates, continued smoothly, as if nothing unusual had happened. The merchant vessels are secure. Do you need help with repairs? Your communications failed, said weakly. We thought you were destroyed, but you kept fighting in total silence. How is that possible? Looked at his crew, gave him a slight nod, had already returned to monitoring his station. Ara was setting course back to the patrol route, all of them working together without needing words. Our communications didn't fail, explained. We just had work to do. Later, as they escorted the damaged ships to the nearest station, saw reviewing the battle footage. She looked up at him and smiled slightly. The council wanted to teach us their way of fighting, she said quietly. They did, agreed, and we showed them ours. He knew this wouldn't be the end of it. The council would have questions. There would be reports and investigations. But for now, the merchants were safe. The crews were alive. And the pirates had learned that some ships were more dangerous when they stopped talking. Much more dangerous. The Council Military Affairs Committee chamber was designed to be intimidating. Ambassador Lee stood at the center of a circular floor, surrounded by rising tiers of seats filled with alien representatives. Lights focused down on her like she was on trial. In a way, she was. Captain stood beside her, his uniform perfect and his expression calm. Commander Park stood on his other side. All 3 humans faced the semicircle of council members who had called this formal hearing. Overseer activated the holographic display. We are here to investigate the incident designated as Silent Dawn Combat Action 7-3. Captain, your ship engaged 15 hostile vessels while your communications were inactive. Our communications were not inactive, corrected politely. We chose not to transmit. The result is the same, said a council member from the species. Her name was, and her blue skin flushed darker with concern. Your allies believed you had been destroyed. They prepared to abandon their ships because they thought no help was coming. Yet help did come, interjected smoothly, and Captain's actions saved not only the crews but also 2 merchant vessels carrying 300 civilians. That is not in question, said. What concerns us is the method. We need to understand what happened. The footage is disturbing. The holographic display activated. Battle footage played for everyone to see. The view was from ship, showing the silent dawn as it engaged the pirates. The committee watched in silence. They saw the human ship go dark on all communication channels. They saw it move through the asteroid field with precision that seemed impossible without constant coordination. They saw it destroy 8 pirate vessels in 3 minutes. What made it truly unsettling was the audio. The ships filled the channel with panicked voices. The pirates broadcast confused demands and threats, but from the silent dawn nothing, just silence and violence. When the footage ended, the chamber remained quiet for a long moment. A representative from the Thoral species spoke first. This appears to be a system malfunction. Perhaps your communication equipment failed under combat stress. Our equipment functioned perfectly, replied. I personally all systems before and after the engagement. Then your crew was incapacitated, another council member suggested. Perhaps the EMP weapon affected your personnel. All crew members were alert and operational throughout the engagement, said firmly. Then why didn't you communicate? Demanded. Every military doctrine in council space requires constant status updates during combat. Communication maintains order. It prevents chaos. Your silence could have caused them to make fatal mistakes. Took a step forward. May I speak about human military history? Gestured permission. For thousands of years, humans fought wars on our planet began. We developed many different methods and strategies, but across all our cultures, one pattern appeared repeatedly. When the situation became most dangerous, the best warriors became quiet, focused. They eliminated all distractions and concentrated completely on survival and victory. That sounds like psychological breakdown, a representative muttered. It's the opposite, said. It's peak performance. When we go silent, we're not panicking, we're calculating. Every word we don't say is energy focused on the task. Every moment we don't spend talking is a moment we spend acting. The council members looked at each other with confusion. Their translators worked perfectly, but they clearly didn't understand the concept. Our species requires communication to function as a unit, explained slowly, as if talking to a child. Without verbal coordination, we fall into disorder. How can you maintain tactical cohesion without constant updates? Training, answered. We train together until every crew member knows what the others will do. We plan before the battle. We execute during the battle. Words become unnecessary. Impossible, declared. You're suggesting your entire crew can predict each other's actions, read minds. Not predict, trust, said. We trust each other to do the job. We don't need confirmation of every action because we know our people are competent. The doors at the back of the chamber opened. A new figure entered. Admiral Sung wore the uniform of Earth's Space Force, decorated with medals from both planetary and orbital conflicts. He was older than, with gray hair and sharp eyes that had seen real combat. Forgive my late arrival, Admiral Sung said. I came as quickly as I could from Earth. Looked surprised. Admiral, we did not request your presence. No, but you're investigating human combat doctrine. I commanded military operations during the orbital wars. I understand what you're struggling with. He walked down to stand with the other humans. May I address the committee? After a moment, nodded. Admiral Sung turned to face the assembled aliens. I've reviewed the footage of Captain's engagement. I've also read your concerns. You believe silence indicates failure. For your species, that's true. For humans, silence indicates something entirely different. He activated his own data pad, and new images appeared in the holographic display. Historical footage from Earth, ancient warriors in meditation before battle, soldiers in trenches going quiet before an assault, pilots checking their systems in focused silence before engaging enemy fighters. "This is who we are," Admiral Sung continued. "When a human warrior stops talking, it doesn't mean they've given up. It means they've committed, completely, totally. Every resource of mind and body focused on one goal: survival, victory, protection of those we defend." "But how do you coordinate complex maneuvers?" a council member asked, genuinely curious now. "The same way any organism coordinates complex actions," the Admiral replied. "Does your heart ask your lungs for permission to beat? Do your eyes request updates from your brain to see? No. The training creates automatic responses. The trust creates unity. The silence creates focus." Leaned forward. "Are you saying your entire crew operates like a single organism?" "In a way, yes," Admiral Sung confirmed. "We become extensions of each other. The captain doesn't need to tell the weapons officer to fire at optimal moment. The weapons officer knows. The helmsman doesn't need orders for evasive maneuvers. The helmsman feels what's needed." The chamber fell silent as the aliens processed this. Their worldview was being challenged. Everything they knew about combat, about cooperation, about civilization itself seemed to contradict what the humans were describing. Finally spoke. "This is unprecedented. No species in Council history has demonstrated such behavior. We cannot approve combat doctrines that deviate so drastically from established norms." "Then what do you propose?" asked. "That we retrain our entire species to fight the way you do, that we abandon methods that have kept humanity alive for." "We propose education," said more gently. "Perhaps if you practiced our methods, you would see their value." Felt frustration rising but kept his voice level. "With respect, we just demonstrated the value of our methods. 8 pirate ships destroyed, 0 friendly casualties, mission success." "Success achieved through what appears to be chaos," countered. "It only appears chaotic because you don't understand it," Admiral Sung said firmly. "And that's fine. You don't need to understand it. You just need to accept that humans fight differently. We always have. We always will." The debate continued for another hour. Arguments went in circles. The council couldn't comprehend human silence. The humans couldn't make them understand that silence wasn't emptiness. It was fullness, complete focus. Finally, a compromise emerged, stood and addressed the chamber. "The Council recognizes that humanity is new to our alliance. We also recognize that Captain's actions achieved positive results. Therefore, we propose this solution." He paused, making sure everyone listened. "Human forces will continue to operate within Council military structure. However, when working with human vessels, Allied ships will be warned that communication silence from humans does not indicate system failure. It indicates operational focus." "A warning label," muttered quietly. "They're giving us a warning label." "Better than a prohibition," whispered back. The vote was called. After some debate it passed, not unanimously but enough to become official policy. As the hearing ended and the humans prepared to leave approached them. "I still don't understand," she admitted, "but I watched the footage many times. Whatever you were doing in that silence, it was effective. Perhaps one day you can teach us." Admiral Sung smiled slightly. "Perhaps, but some things can't be taught, they have to be lived." Walking back through the station corridors felt the weight of what had happened. The council still didn't trust human methods, but they had acknowledged them. It was a small victory. "They'll test us again," predicted. "Probably," agreed. "And when they do," smiled, "we'll do what we've always done. Stay quiet, stay focused, and get the job done." Distress signal came through at 3:47 station time. Captain was in his quarters when the alert pulled him from sleep. He was dressed and moving toward the bridge before his mind fully registered what was happening. "Report," he ordered, stepping through the bridge doors. Commander Park was already at her station. 3 colony is under attack, Empire forces, massive invasion fleet. Felt his blood go cold. 3 was a frontier colony world. 50,000 civilians lived there, families, children, scientists studying the unique ecosystem. The colony had minimal defenses, never expecting an attack this deep into Council territory. "Show me," he said. The tactical display lit up. Stomach dropped. 40 warships in orbit around 3. They were bombarding the defensive platforms. Within minutes, the colony would be completely defenseless. "Where are Council forces?" demanded. "Scattered across the sector," Lieutenant Jin reported from weapons. "Closest fleet is Admiral N's group. They're 6 hours away." 6 hours. Looked at the display again. The colony wouldn't last 1 hour under that assault. By the time help arrived, everyone would be dead or taken as slaves. They were known for their brutality. "What do we have in range?" asked, though he already knew the answer. "Just us," said quietly. "The Silent Dawn, the Morning Blade, and the Last Light." She paused. 3 frigates against 40 warships. The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood the math. It was suicide. Ensign Ara, their helmsman, spoke up. "Captain, the distress signal includes live feeds. They're targeting civilian centers, schools, hospitals." Closed his eyes for just a moment. When he opened them, his decision was made. "Set course for 3, maximum speed. Contact the Morning Blade and Last Light. Tell them we're going in." "Captain," said carefully, "Admiral N has ordered all nearby vessels to hold position and wait for the main fleet." "I heard the order," replied. "Plot the course." Hesitated only a second, then smiled. Course plotted. The Silent Dawn turned and accelerated. Within minutes, the other 2 human frigates joined them. 3 small ships racing toward impossible odds. Opened a channel to Admiral N. The Admiral appeared on screen, her blue skin dark with concern. "Captain, I gave explicit orders to maintain position," she said sternly. "With respect, Admiral, in 6 hours everyone on that planet will be dead. We're human. We don't wait while people die." "Your 3 frigates," N's voice rose. "You'll be destroyed in minutes." "Maybe," acknowledged. "Or maybe we'll buy enough time for you to arrive. Either way, we have to try." "This is insubordination. I could have you court-martialed." "Yes, ma'am, you could," paused, "if I survive." He cut the transmission before she could respond. Around him, his crew moved with purpose. They all knew this was likely a one-way trip. None of them had suggested turning back. Lieutenant Song entered the bridge. She commanded the Silent Dawn's Marine complement, 20 soldiers trained for boarding actions. "My people are ready, Captain, whatever you need." "We need to survive long enough to make a difference," told her. "That's all." The journey to 3 took 40 minutes. They spent it planning, studying the fleet composition, looking for weaknesses, finding angles of attack. "They have us 40-3, said, reviewing weapons data. "Their shields are stronger, their armor is thicker, their weapons have longer range." "So we get close," replied. "Use the planetary gravity well, make them work for every shot." As they approached the system, the fleet detected them. A transmission came through, filled with harsh laughter. 3 tiny ships, the commander, Warlord, mocked. "Council sends children to fight warriors. This is insult." Activated the transmission. "This is captain of the human vessel Silent Dawn. Withdraw from 3 immediately." The laughter grew louder. "Human? What is human? Weak species, new to space. You die now, little human, your ship becomes dust." "You've been warned," said calmly. Then he transmitted on the Council channel, knowing Admiral N and her fleet would be monitoring. "Tell the Council this is why we go quiet." He closed all external communications. The bridge of the Silent Dawn fell into silence. On the other two human ships, the same thing happened. Their crews stopped talking, stopped broadcasting, stopped making any sound at all. The fleet watched as the three human ships advanced, gave orders to destroy them. His warriors opened fire. The silent dawn twisted through space. Aura flew like the ship was part of her body. Weapons fire passed through empty space where they had been milliseconds before. The morning blade and last light moved in perfect coordination, not a word passing between them. His fingers moved across his weapon's console. He fired. A destroyer's shield collapsed. Before it could recover, the last light hit it with a full salvo. The destroyer broke apart. They responded with overwhelming firepower, but the human ships were small and fast. They dove toward the planet, using its gravity to slingshot around. They had to adjust their aim constantly. Most shots missed. "They fight like insects," roared on the open channel. "Stop moving, fight with honor." But the humans didn't respond. They just kept moving, kept shooting, kept killing. Marines launched in armored pods from the silent dawn. 6 pods, 4 Marines each. They flew toward a command ship that had been disabled by concentrated human fire. The pods attached to the hull. Cutting torches burned through. The inside never knew what hit them. Marines moved through the corridors in complete silence. Hand signals only. Each Marine knew exactly where the others were, what they were doing without speaking a word. They reached the bridge in 4 minutes, captured the command crew in 30 seconds. On the Silent Dawn's bridge watched the tactical display. They had been fighting for 17 minutes. 8 ships were destroyed or disabled, but they couldn't keep this up forever. Their shields were weakening. Their ammunition was running low. Then something changed. The communications channels, which had been full of aggressive boasting, went quiet. Not silent like the humans, afraid quiet. "What are these creatures?" an officer whispered over an open channel. "They don't speak, they don't fear, they just kill." "Fall back," another voice shouted. "They're not natural." Tried to rally his forces. "They are 3 ships, we are 40, destroy them." But his warriors had lost their nerve. They had never faced an enemy like this. An enemy that didn't shout threats or broadcast challenges. An enemy that just kept coming, silent and deadly, like death itself. The fleet began to pull back, not retreating entirely but creating distance, gathering together for mutual protection. That was when Admiral and's fleet arrived. 20 Council warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. They immediately moved to engage. They found themselves caught between the silent human ships and the fresh Council fleet. Made the smart decision. He ordered a full retreat. As the ships fled the system, finally opened communications again. His voice was steady, showing no sign of the exhaustion everyone on the bridge felt. 3 colony is secure, civilian casualties minimal, hostile forces retreating. Admiral and's face appeared on screen. She looked at with an expression he couldn't quite read, shock, awe, fear. "Captain," she said slowly, "in my 40 years of service, I have never seen anything like what you just did." "We did what was necessary, Admiral. You were outnumbered more than 10 to 1. You should have been destroyed in minutes. Instead, you held them off for nearly an hour. You disabled 12 warships. You caused an entire invasion fleet to retreat." She paused. "And you did it all in complete silence." Looked around his bridge. His crew was exhausted but alive. The Morning Blade reported damage but no casualties. The last light had taken heavy hits but was still operational, and her Marines were already securing prisoners. "Permission to dock at 3 station for repairs, Admiral." And nodded slowly. "Permission granted. Captain, there will be a full report on this action. The Council will want to understand what happened here today." "I'm sure they will," replied. As the transmission ended, leaned back in her chair. "We're going to be famous after this." "Or court-martialed," suggested. "Maybe both," said. Aura laughed quietly. Did you see how scared they got? When we went silent, they thought we were ghosts or demons or something." "Good," said, entering the bridge with her helmet under her arm. "Fear keeps people from attacking colonies. They learned today that attacking humans is different from attacking other council species." Stood and looked out the at-3. The colony was safe. 50,000 lives saved. 3 small ships against an invasion fleet, and they had won. Captain asked, "What do you think the council will do?" Thought about Overseer and the hearing and all the aliens who couldn't understand why humans went quiet during combat. Today, they had seen the result. Today, they had seen what human silence really meant. "I think," said finally, "they're going to have to accept that we fight differently, and that difference might be exactly what the Council needs." The Galactic Council chambers had never been so crowded. Every seat was filled. Representatives from all 47 member species were present. Additional observers lined the walls. Everyone wanted to witness this moment. Ambassador Lee walked into the chamber beside Captain and Admiral Sung. The 3 humans moved together in silence while aliens around them whispered and clicked and buzzed their conversations. After 3 weeks of analysis and debate, the Council had called this official session to address human combat doctrine once and for all. Overseer stood at the central podium. His compound eyes reflected the lights as he called the session to order. The chamber fell quiet. "We convened today to discuss events at 3, began. 3 human vessels engaged 40 warships. Against all probability, the humans achieved victory. 50,000 civilians were saved. 12 hostile vessels were destroyed or captured. The invasion was repelled." He paused and noticed his 4 hands clasping and unclasping. He was nervous. What we witnessed challenges everything we understand about military operations. The Council has spent 3 weeks studying what happened. We have reviewed footage. We have consulted experts. We have run simulations. Looked directly at Captain. "We expected your ships to last perhaps 5 minutes. Instead, you held an entire fleet at bay for 47 minutes. Stood to address the Council. "We did our duty, Overseer, nothing more." "Nothing more," the voice came from Admiral N. The officer stood from her seat. "Captain, I commanded fleet operations for 20 years before you humans reached space. I have fought pirates and raiders and seen countless battles. What you did at 3 was not nothing more. It was extraordinary." She activated a holographic display. Battle footage played for all to see. 3 small human ships moving through space like dancers. Not a word transmitted. Not a single update broadcast. Just pure, focused action. "I watched this recording 100 times," and continued. "I tried to understand how you coordinated such complex maneuvers without communication. Our analysts ran probability studies. They concluded your success rate should have been less than 3%. Yet we succeeded," Admiral Sung said quietly. "Yes," and agreed, "because you fight in a way we never imagined. When we reviewed your ship's internal recordings, we found something remarkable. Your crews went completely silent. Not just external broadcasts. Even internal ship communications ceased. New footage appeared. The bridge of the Silent Dawn during combat, and his crew moving in perfect synchronization. Not speaking. Not even looking at each other most of the time. Just acting with absolute certainty." A council member from the Thoral species stood. "This appears to be telepathy. Are humans psychic?" "No," replied, "we're trained." "Impossible. No amount of training can." "Actually," a new voice interrupted. A scientist named approached the speaker platform. He was the lead researcher assigned to study human combat behavior. "I have spent 3 weeks analyzing human physiology and psychology. I believe I can explain." Gestured permission. Activated his own presentation. Brain scans appeared, chemical analysis, biological data. When humans enter high-stress combat situations, their brains undergo measurable changes. Certain neural pathways activate, others shut down. The effect is dramatic. They enter a state of hyperfocus. He showed comparison charts. Human brain activity during normal conditions versus during combat. The difference was striking. In this state, humans suppress all non-essential functions. This includes verbal communication. Their sensory processing accelerates. Their reaction times improve by 40%. Their ability to predict patterns and outcomes increases dramatically. But how do they coordinate? Asked from her seat. Anticipation and trust, explained. Each human trains until actions become automatic. When fighting together, they don't predict what their companions will do. They know what they will do, because they would do the same thing. The training creates uniformity of response. He showed footage of human martial arts, ancient warriors moving in synchronized forms. This pattern appears throughout human history. They train together until they become, functionally, a single organism with multiple bodies. The chamber absorbed this information, could see understanding beginning to dawn on some faces. Others still looked confused or disturbed. There's another effect, continued, perhaps more significant. When humans go silent in combat, it creates psychological warfare against their enemies. He displayed footage from ships during the battle. Their communications showed increasing panic as the silent human vessels continued their assault. For most species, silence means death or system failure. They could not understand why the humans weren't communicating. They interpreted it as something unnatural, supernatural even. Their broadcasts show them calling humans ghost ships and death spirits. A recording played, a warrior's voice filled with fear. They don't speak, they don't scream, they just kill. What are they? The chamber went very quiet. Every alien representative now understood. The human silence wasn't just effective, it was terrifying. Council High Chancellor stood. He was old, his species living for centuries. He had seen the council through wars and peace. In all my years, I have never encountered a species like humanity. We brought them into our alliance thinking they were like us. They are not. Tensed, was this going to be condemnation? They are better, continued. In one specific way, they have perfected the art of focused violence. We rely on constant communication because we fear isolation. Humans embrace isolation during combat because it makes them sharper, deadlier. He looked at directly. Captain, the council owes you an apology. We tried to change your methods because we did not understand them. We do now. Stepped forward. The council has prepared a proposal. We have drafted a new military protocol specifically addressing human combat operations. A document appeared on the holographic display. Section 7, Paragraph 12, Subsection H of the Council Military Doctrine. We call it the Human Silence Protocol, explained. It states that when operating with human forces, Allied vessels must understand that communication silence from human ships does not indicate system failure, crew casualties, or surrender. It indicates peak operational efficiency. He continued reading. The protocol requires that when humans cease communication during combat, Allied forces maintain tactical distance and allow humans to execute their operations without interference. It further recommends that hostile forces immediately disengage when humans enter silent running mode. You're creating a warning label, muttered to, for us. An official one this time, replied quietly. The vote was called. The measure passed with only 3 abstentions and no opposition. The Human Silence Protocol became official council doctrine. After the session, as aliens filed out of the chamber discussing what had happened, approached the human delegation. I voted in favor, she told them. But I admit, your silence still disturbs me. It disturbs our enemies too, Admiral Sung replied. That's rather the point. Will other species learn your methods? She asked. Considered this. They can try, but I don't think it will work the same way. We developed this because of our history, thousands of years of warfare on our planet. We learned that when everything is at stake, words are just noise. Action is what matters. Nodded slowly. Perhaps you're right. Perhaps this is uniquely human. She paused. I'm glad you're our allies and not our enemies. As the humans left the council building, they found news broadcasts already spreading the story. The human silence protocol was becoming famous across council space. Some species found it reassuring. Others found it frightening. Watched one broadcast showing a military briefing that had been leaked to the media. If engaging human vessels and they cease communication, withdraw immediately. Do not assume weakness. Assume lethal intent. They're actually afraid of us now, said. Good, replied. Fear prevents conflict. If they are too scared to attack colonies, then people stay safe. Admiral Sung looked at the city around them. Aliens of dozens of species going about their lives in peace. You know what this means, don't you? In every military briefing, every tactical class, every command school across council space, they'll teach about human silence. We've become a cautionary tale. Better a cautionary tale than a cautionary casualty, said. They walked in comfortable silence back toward the human embassy. Around them, aliens gave them slightly wider clearance than before, respectful distance, wary space. Thought about the journey from Earth to the stars, about humanity joining the council, about all the aliens who thought they could teach humans how to fight. Do you think they'll ever really understand? Asked. Maybe, said. Or maybe they don't need to. They just need to remember. When the humans go quiet, something is about to die, and it won't be the humans. 3 months later, the human silence protocol had spread throughout known space. Pirates avoided human patrols. Raiders fled when human ships appeared. The mere presence of human vessels became a deterrent. The warning symbol appeared on tactical displays across the galaxy. A simple icon, a human figure with one finger raised to their lips in a gesture of silence, surrounded by a red warning triangle. Underneath, in every language the council spoke, were 3 words that became known across the stars. Humans gone quiet. It was all the warning anyone needed. Years later, military historians would write about the 3 incident. They would analyze the tactics, study the recordings, and teach the lessons to new generations of officers. But they would always note one thing that made human warfare unique. Other species fought with words, humans fought with silence. And in that silence, empires learned to fear. Not because humans were monsters, not because they loved violence, but because when pushed to protect what they valued, humans became something that no other species had ever mastered. They became perfectly, precisely, lethally focused. They became quiet. And in the vast darkness of space, that silence spoke louder than any weapon ever could.